Berdiri sejak tahun 1948, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia telah menjadi bagian dari dinamika kota Yogyakarta yang dikenal akan kekayaan nilai sejarah, pendidikan, dan budayanya. Dengan pengalaman lebih dari 70 tahun dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menjadi pusat keunggulan dalam pengembangan ilmu pengetahuan yang mampu menghasilkan insan yang unggul dalam bidang bisnis dan ekonomi sebagai wujud dari cita-cita para pendiri bangsa. Sebagai kampus yang lahir dari perjuangan para cendekiawan Muslim, kami mengembangkan potensi setiap individu dengan memadukan aspek akademis, sosial, dan nilai-nilai keagamaan. Guna memenuhi ragam kebutuhan akan pendidikan tinggi, kami menyediakan berbagai program pada jenjang diploma, sarjana, magister, dan doktor. Dalam rangka menciptakan lingkungan yang ideal untuk mengasah ilmu dan mengembangkan diri guna melahirkan inovasi yang membuahkan prestasi di kancah nasional maupun internasional, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menyediakan fasilitas berkelas dunia. Dengan misi menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi bertaraf internasional, kami menjalin kerjasama dengan berbagai institusi terkemuka di luar negeri. Hal ini bertujuan untuk memperluas jaringan dan wawasan guna memiliki daya saing global. Raihan yang menghantarkan kami berada dalam jajaran kampus terbaik di Indonesia bukanlah tujuan akhir, namun merupakan dampak dari ikhtiar yang kami lakukan untuk meraih tujuan yang mulia. Kami meyakini bahwa pendidikan yang baik merupakan perjalanan yang prosesnya tidak hanya tentang melatih kemampuan berpikir semata, namun juga melatih sikap, kepedulian, dan kesantunan akhlak yang mampu mengarahkan pada kebaikan yang diteladani, agar nantinya mampu menghasilkan generasi yang unggul, yang mampu menggenggam masa depan, dan mampu menyempurnakan ilmu dengan mengambil peranan yang lebih besar untuk menebar manfaat bagi masyarakat dan ikut berkontribusi dalam memajukan bangsa Indonesia.
Sebagai kampus yang sangat berpengalaman dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia memadukan kenyamanan lingkungan dan fasilitas yang memadai untuk menciptakan suasana akademik yang mampu mendukung proses pembelajaran bagi mahasiswa. Keberadaan fasilitas penunjang kegiatan pembelajaran yang nyaman dan menyenangkan bagi mahasiswa merupakan hal yang utama bagi Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi. Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia juga berkomitmen untuk mengembangkan bakat dan minat mahasiswa. Untuk mendukung hal tersebut, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia menyediakan berbagai fasilitas yang mampu mendukung pengembangan bakat, minat, dan inovasi mahasiswa. Untuk meningkatkan kinerja layanan kepada mahasiswa, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia menyediakan berbagai infrastruktur digital yang mendukung berbagai kegiatan akademik. Semua fasilitas fisik dan digital yang dimiliki oleh Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia merupakan cerminan komitmen untuk senantiasa memberikan layanan yang terbaik untuk terus tumbuh menjadi perguruan tinggi terkemuka dalam bidang bisnis dan ekonomi di Indonesia.
Berdiri sejak tahun 1948, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia telah menjadi bagian dari dinamika Kota Yogyakarta yang dikenal akan kekayaan nilai sejarah, pendidikan, dan budayanya. Dengan pengalaman lebih dari 70 tahun dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menjadi pusat keunggulan dalam pengembangan ilmu pengetahuan yang mampu menghasilkan insan yang unggul dalam bidang bisnis dan ekonomi sebagai wujud dari cita-cita para pendiri bangsa. Sebagai kampus yang lahir dari perjuangan para cendekiawan Muslim, kami mengembangkan potensi setiap individu dengan memadukan aspek akademis, sosial, dan nilai-nilai keagamaan. Guna memenuhi ragam kebutuhan akan pendidikan tinggi, kami menyediakan berbagai program pada jenjang diploma, sarjana, magister, dan doktor. Dalam rangka menciptakan lingkungan yang ideal untuk mengasah ilmu dan mengembangkan diri guna melahirkan inovasi yang membuahkan prestasi di kancah nasional maupun internasional, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menyediakan fasilitas berkelas dunia. Dengan misi menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi bertaraf internasional, kami menjalin kerjasama dengan berbagai institusi terkemuka di luar negeri. Hal ini bertujuan untuk memperluas jaringan dan wawasan guna memiliki daya saing global. Raihan yang menghantarkan kami berada dalam jajaran kampus terbaik di Indonesia bukanlah tujuan akhir, namun merupakan dampak dari ikhtiar yang kami lakukan untuk meraih tujuan yang mulia. Kami meyakini bahwa pendidikan yang baik merupakan perjalanan yang prosesnya tidak hanya tentang melatih kemampuan berpikir semata, namun juga melatih sikap, kepedulian, dan kesantunan akhlak yang mampu mengarahkan pada kebaikan yang diteladani, agar nantinya mampu menghasilkan generasi yang unggul, yang mampu menggenggam masa depan, dan mampu menyempurnakan ilmu dengan mengambil peranan yang lebih besar untuk menebar manfaat bagi masyarakat dan ikut berkontribusi dalam memajukan bangsa Indonesia.
Sebagai kampus yang sangat berpengalaman dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia memadukan kenyamanan lingkungan dan fasilitas yang memadai untuk menciptakan suasana akademik yang mampu mendukung proses pembelajaran bagi mahasiswa. Keberadaan fasilitas penunjang kegiatan pembelajaran yang nyaman dan menyenangkan bagi mahasiswa merupakan hal yang utama bagi Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi. Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia juga berkomitmen untuk mengembangkan bakat dan minat mahasiswa. Untuk mendukung hal tersebut, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia menyediakan berbagai fasilitas yang mampu mendukung pengembangan bakat, minat, dan inovasi mahasiswa. Untuk meningkatkan kinerja layanan kepada mahasiswa, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia menyediakan berbagai infrastruktur digital yang mendukung berbagai kegiatan akademik. Semua fasilitas fisik dan digital yang dimiliki oleh Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia merupakan cerminan komitmen untuk senantiasa memberikan layanan yang terbaik untuk terus tumbuh menjadi perguruan tinggi terkemuka dalam bidang bisnis dan ekonomi di Indonesia.
Berdiri sejak tahun 1948, Fakultas Bisnis dan Ekonomika Universitas Islam Indonesia telah menjadi bagian dari dinamika Kota Yogyakarta yang dikenal akan kekayaan nilai sejarah, pendidikan, dan budayanya. Dengan pengalaman lebih dari 70 tahun dalam menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menjadi pusat keunggulan dalam pengembangan ilmu pengetahuan yang mampu menghasilkan insan yang unggul dalam bidang bisnis dan ekonomi sebagai wujud dari cita-cita para pendiri bangsa. Sebagai kampus yang lahir dari perjuangan para cendekiawan Muslim, kami mengembangkan potensi setiap individu dengan memadukan aspek akademis, sosial, dan nilai-nilai keagamaan. Guna memenuhi ragam kebutuhan akan pendidikan tinggi, kami menyediakan berbagai program pada jenjang diploma, sarjana, magister, dan doktor. Dalam rangka menciptakan lingkungan yang ideal untuk mengasah ilmu dan mengembangkan diri guna melahirkan inovasi yang membuahkan prestasi di kancah nasional maupun internasional, kami terus berkomitmen untuk menyediakan fasilitas berkelas dunia. Dengan misi menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi bertaraf internasional, kami menjalin kerjasama dengan berbagai institusi terkemuka di luar negeri. Hal ini bertujuan untuk memperluas jaringan dan wawasan guna memiliki daya saing global. Raihan yang menghantarkan kami berada dalam jajaran kampus terbaik di Indonesia bukanlah tujuan akhir, namun merupakan dampak dari ikhtiar yang kami lakukan untuk meraih tujuan yang mulia. Kami meyakini bahwa pendidikan yang baik merupakan perjalanan yang prosesnya tidak hanya tentang melatih kemampuan berpikir semata, namun juga melatih sikap, kepedulian, dan kesantunan akhlak yang mampu mengarahkan pada kebaikan yang diteladani, agar nantinya mampu menghasilkan generasi yang unggul, yang mampu menggenggam masa depan, dan mampu menyempurnakan ilmu dengan mengambil peranan yang lebih besar untuk menebar manfaat bagi masyarakat dan ikut berkontribusi dalam memajukan bangsa Indonesia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Dean of Business and Economy Faculty, Universitas Islam Indonesia, Profesor Jaka Sriana, SE, MSc, PhD. The Honorable Representative from Anadolu University, Ankara Haji Bairam Valley University, Dicle University, University Putra Malaysia, University Sains Islam Malaysia, and Mapua University. Also the Honorable all of committees and participants of International Student Mobility, International Business Sustainability Initiative 2022. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First of all, let us pray and praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His blessing and mercy, we can meet virtually in health condition in this event of ISM IBSI 2022. Before I start to lead this event, let me introduce myself as your Master of Ceremony. I am Miftahul Jannah, Management Department of Diploma Degree, Batch 2020, Universitas Islam Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, participants of ISM IBSI 2022, on this nice occasion, let me deliver Structure of International Student Mobility, International Business Sustainability Initiative on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022 as follows. First, opening, singing Indonesia National Anthem, singing hymn of Universitas Islam Indonesia, welcoming speech from Dean of Business and Economy Faculty Universitas Islam Indonesia, introduction video of Yogyakarta, Universitas Islam Indonesia Profile and Traditional Dance by Safiera, webinar with them, the G20 Outlook, how the country recovers the post-pandemic economy. And then the last session is Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, let us open event with reciting Basmalah together. Before going any further, let me read several rules during this event. Rules during ISM IBSI 2022. First, all participants are compulsory to turn on their camera. Second, all participants need to mute their microphone during the all session. Third, participants can ask questions by using the raise hand feature and waiting for the MC to allow you to speak, or by typing it via chat box. Okay, next, singing Indonesia National Anthem and Hymn UII. Now, we invite Professor Jaka Sriana, SA, MSc, PhD, as Dean of Business and Economy Faculty, Universitas Islam Indonesia. To Mr. Jaka, the time and screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Representative of Anadolu University, Ankara University, and Iqbal University from Turkey, the Honorable Representative of University Putra Malaysia, University Science Islam Malaysia, and the Honorable Representative of Mapua University, Philippines. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. First of all, on behalf of the Faculty of Business and Economics, Universitas Islam Indonesia, we would like to welcome all delegates to the International Student Mobility Program. The collaboration between Faculty of Business and Economics, Universitas Islam Indonesia, Anadolu University, Ankara University, and Iqbal University, Turkey, UPM and USIM, Malaysia, and Mapua University, Philippines. We really appreciate the realization of this program, which is carried out virtually as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic situation until today. All activities of this program will be conducted online, such as lecture series, business plans, and call for paper competitions, virtual company visits, and also virtual city tours. However, we hope this program will encourage all students to be actively involved in this discussion about the special topic, economic recovery from the post-pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the issue of economic and business recoveries are very important topics, since the COVID-19 pandemic has changed drastically all aspects, including social, economic, and business activity. Therefore, regional solidarity and coordination are needed for a faster recovery and to maintain organizational sustainability. All countries, as well as a business organization, need some strategies to do their recovery faster and more effective. We are sure that this program will provide us with a very useful platform to share and exchange information, ideas, experiences, and lesson learned in the student mobility activities. Through the presentation, sharing information, and discussion will give useful benefits. We hope this event will be unique, wonderful, and meaningful, which give valuable insight for your study, especially. We are aware that involving in this program requires high motivation, strong effort, and deep attention. Therefore, again, I appreciate you all for your participation in this program. This makes this program successful. I also use this opportunity to thank the team who have prepared and organized this event very well. Finally, we hope you all enjoy this event and will get significant information, inspiration, and valuable experience. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Mr. Jaka for the speech. Now, let's getting know us closer by looking at the introduction video of Yogyakarta. Happy watching!
Living in Jogja, the customs, smile and be friendly. Most Indonesian people are very friendly and they love to smile even to the strangers. You can smile when you're passing by Indonesians and give a slow nod. This shows that you respect them and Indonesians love it. Javanese tend to be shy in a new environment and meeting with new people. Bargain while shopping. It's a usual thing to bargain in Indonesian traditional market, but don't bargain for an extremely low price. You can start bargaining half of the offer price. Greet someone that you don't know by calling him or her Mbak or Mas. If you meet someone you don't know and you need to talk to that person, you can call him Mas for a male one or call her Mbak for the female one. However, Mas and Mbak is a common address for someone younger. If that person looks a bit older, you can call him Pak for the male one or call her Bu for the female one. Many Yogyakartans have dinner at Angkringan and Lesehan. Angkringan church usually open at 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Lesehan are normally located on a building's porch and some Lesehan open at 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Many Yogyakartans love having sweet food and sweet beverages since many of them are having sweet tea. The do's. Understand the directions. People in Jogja do not really use left and right to give directions. They normally use the compass direction like north, south, west, and east. They use the direction of Merapi Mountain as the reminder of north direction and used to be Yogyakarta as the sign of south direction. Yogyakartans are known to be very polite and soft-spoken. So you may have to lean in a little to follow the conversations. Take off your shoes when entering a house, especially a place of worship. Use only your right hand when giving or receiving things. The left hand is considered dirty and it's impolite to use left hand for handing or receiving something. Bring your own tissue. Tissue is not always available at the restaurant and public toilet, so bring your own, just in case. Be prepared to squat when you use the public toilet, except when you are in the mall or hotels. When you're eating, offer and share your food to other person near you who is not eating too, just to show politeness. Bend your body when you walk right in front of older people to show politeness. The don'ts. Don't forget to smile. Japanese people consider smile as a sign of friendliness and politeness. Don't be offended if someone does not shake your hand. He or she might just prefer to avoid physical contact with the opposite sex as part of his or her belief. Don't wear tank tops in publics or schools. Use t-shirt or shorts that cover your shoulders and knees. Don't put your hand on your hip or fold your arms across your chest when talking to people. It's considered rude and may imply that you're better than your conversation partner. Don't expect sidewalks is always available. Usually just walk in the street with the busy traffic. Just be extra careful in the street. Don't put tampon or sanitary napkin in the toilet. Only use toilet paper. Don't drink the tap water as it is not ready to drink. Indonesians cook the water for drinking. Don't touch people's head, especially the one older than you. Touching the head is considered impolite except when it is done by parents to their children. Don't point someone or something with your index finger. Instead, you can use your thumb to point at something or a direction. Don't show excessive affection in public, like kissing or hugging your couple. It's still considered taboo to show affection in public area. Other people might stare at you weirdly. Surely, it will make you feel uncomfortable. That is some information about living in Jogja. Don't hesitate to ask anyone if you have any questions. Enjoy your time in Jogja and Sugeng Rawu!
Exploring the traces of the archipelago heritage, going through the pages of stories about Wastra, rediscovering the ultimate charm, which is etched on the strands full of meaning. Which is illustrated in beautiful thoughts. This is Indonesian Batik. A masterpiece that combines tradition and creation. Mixing the classic and the futuristic, which encapsulates the variety of colors in harmony, which stretches on the heart gently, releasing the pride of the country's clothing.
Ini batik buat kita itu karena aku mencintai batik, ya itu pertama, kedua juga biar kita supaya anak-anak kita itu bisa melanjutkan budaya kita, supaya kebudayaan kita nggak hilang, supaya bisa melestarikan sampai turun-temurun ke anak cucu kita.
This is Indonesian Batik. With various patterns, which is explored from the cultural treasures of the archipelago, creating rich motifs.
Batik menurut saya adalah sebuah seni yang melekat pada jiwa saya, yang ketika saya mengerjakannya itu dengan penuh cinta, menghasilkan karya-karya yang merupakan ekspresi dari diri saya. Jadi ketika saya sedih mungkin batiknya nggak beraturan, tapi ketika saya sedang mood, sedang tenang, sedang ini, bisa jadi akan menghasilkan karya yang luar biasa. Jadi harapan saya batik ini bisa dikenakan oleh seluruh lapisan masyarakat, juga dukungan dari pemerintah. Ini batik adalah bisa menjadi pakaian sehari-hari. Tentunya kami sebagai perajin batik juga bertanggung jawab untuk menyajikan motif-motif yang bisa diterima oleh seluruh lapisan masyarakat tentunya.
And various images that exude charm, beautifully exposed in a majestic aura. Batik is a wastra full of meaning, which brings a meaningful image, who holds 1,000 interpretations and philosophies about life and transcendence values.
Batik itu adalah teknik penghias kain. Jadi dimulai sejak masih debatable sih, tapi di zaman Majapahit itu sudah dikenal, tapi namanya tidak batik. Tapi sudah ada nama wedian, kain berwarna yang batik didasarkan oleh kearifan lokal biasanya. Lalu kemudian pada karakter-karakter geografis, misalnya pesisiran. Pesisiran itu secara motif itu bisa dikatakan apa yang dilihat oleh mata, maka itu yang digambar. Di batik pedalaman itu lebih kepada kita sebut saja itu ada stilisasi, ada deformasi yang kemudian itu lebih kaya kepada makna-makna atau nilai-nilai filosofis tadi untuk peran atau sosial dan sebagainya. Kalau kita bicara filosofis, maka yang paling lengkap kata batik garis lurus itu ada di batik pedalaman antara Jogja dan Solo. Batik di Jogja itu bisa dikenali dengan motifnya yang tadi ada daurido, kemudian bisa dikenali dengan warna klasiknya yaitu misalnya sogan, coklat.
Batik is us, which always wants to walk across the horizon. Break through hard boundaries. Spread the message of love. Through the charm of literature, all over the world. Across the universe to preserve the human civilization heritage.
Hello global citizens, welcome to Yogyakarta City, Indonesia. I'm gonna show you some international features of this capital of Japanese culture and heritage city. I'm gonna take you on a tour to see the city of Yogyakarta, or we usually call Jogja, through one of the coolest way using the axis of imaginary lines of the city. The line runs from Parangkusumo Beach in the South Sea to the Merapi volcano in the north. This imaginary line will connect us to some most important points of the city. Let's find out more. This is Malioboro Street, a very popular street in downtown Yogyakarta. Now, along Malioboro Street, you can find a lot of traditional snacks, souvenirs, and fine arts, typical of Yogyakarta. Now, I will invite you to feel the sensation of traditional style shopping in the Beringharjo Market. Here, we can feel the warm and friendly smile of the traditional traders. In this market, we can buy batik cloth or other souvenirs from Yogyakarta at an affordable price. This is Fort Vredenburg. This colonial fort was built in 1760 on the land plotted by the first sultans, Hamengkubuwono I. Now we are at the 0 kilometer intersection. In the 0 kilometer, we can feel the different nuances of Yogyakarta. This point is often referred to as the European corner of Yogyakarta. From 0 kilometer crossing, you can enjoy the charm of the Deco-style buildings built in the 1920s. Now we will visit Taman Sari. This palace garden was built in 1758. The architecture combines European and Japanese styles that will spoil the eyes of those who love the history of the civilization. Taman Sari does not only display the beauty, but it is also an encyclopedia which appreciates historical knowledge. Come here and feel the aura of the palace garden firsthand. Finally, we enter the gate of Yogyakarta Sultan's Palace or Keraton. This majestic and beautiful palace was built in 1755 by its chief architect, the first Sultan Hamengkubuwono I. Now we arrive at the Panggung Krapyak or Krapyak stage, or also famous as Kandang Menjangan or the cage of the deers. This important site was built in 1760 by the first Sultan. It is famous as the place where the kings of Mataram Islamic Kingdom and Yogyakarta Sultanate went hunting in Krapyak forest. We're gonna end our trip in the backyard of the Sultan's Palace called the South Square. This place is popular as Alkid or Alun-Alun Kidul. In its history, Alkid is believed to be a resting place for the god because it is a very peaceful place. In the past, Yogyakarta South Square was widely used for certain events such as the agility training venue for the palace warriors. Now at Alkid we can see teenagers playing kites, food sellers and toy traders. And I challenge you to try the famous Masangin ritual in Alkid. You need to walk between two banyan trees with closed eyes. Some people believe that those who succeed passing the trees will get all their wishes come true. For some people it might sound easy, but trust me, it was not. Try it and wish you good luck.
Yogyakarta is not only known as the city that is rich of the culture, art, philosophy, and history, but also known as the city of culinary. So today I'm going to be taking you to one of the best Yogyakarta traditional food, and I'm so excited because I know you're gonna love it. So let's go. Voila! Here they are, the traditional food of Yogyakarta, and here we have gudeg, and this is bakmi godok, and for the dessert we have wedang jahe and bendol. I'm so excited to taste it. First thing first, I'm gonna taste this gudeg. Good, but next we have bakmi godok. This is basically a noodle with savory gravy and egg. Then let's try it. Have the sweet little bendol. They call it bendol. This is basically grilled cassava. Look at them. This actually tastes good. I would like to taste this traditional drink called Japanese beer. The ingredients are ginger, lemongrass, lime, and other spices. Wow, this tastes sensational. last but not least, we have this beautiful hot dessert called wedang roti. Let's try. Now we are already at the center of Yogyakarta. This is called Alun-Alun Kidul, and I am gonna be taking you to the street food. So we'll see what we have here. First up, we have fried ice cream.
Hai lady, cantik sekali ini pacar kamu bro, berapa nih? Oke, silakan.
The second one, we have this fried flavored egg. I'm so excited to taste it. Pak, bisa dulu. Pak, makasih. Let's try this. This is flaming hot. The third one is meatball. This is legendary. This is my favorite one. Now I am making bakpia, the most important traditional food of Yogyakarta. This is bakpia in the making. Now I'm gonna be tasting a piece of heaven, bakpia. And now it's time for fruit. Here in front of me I have gava, and this is also gava, but these two are different types of gava. This contains a lot of water, and also star fruit, banana, and papaya. And this one is the unique fruit from Papua called matol. Tastes like, ooh, it's kind of hard for me to open it. Wow. So watery. Now it's time for evening meal. These are nasi kucing. It is basically the small amount of rice and also variety of side dishes. traditional drinks of Yogyakarta, wedaku and kopi coklat. And for dinner, we have oseng-oseng mercon. Look at this. Oh my god, this is the spiciest thing ever. Let's try. Wish me luck. And now it's Saturday time. After having a video, the introduction of cultural in Yogyakarta, now we invite Mr. Rifki Fajar. To Mr. Rifki Fajar, time and screen is yours.
All right, the host just gave me permission to unmute my microphone, so sorry for the technical problem. All right, so thanks for playing all of the videos. I hope all of you guys watch the video from the beginnings, not only the last part of the videos. Okay, so after watching the videos, I would like to hear something from you first. So what is the shocking or what is the most interesting information that has been displayed in the video? Anyone would like to try? Anyone? So what is the most interesting information that you found in the video? So there are 4 videos, yeah. Anyone would like to try to give me some opinions? No? All right, it's probably because some of you feel so hungry. I know that in Indonesia, it's a lunchtime, but in Turkey, because it's around 10, yeah, 10 in the morning, so probably you are going to have brunch. Okay, I think Yogyakarta is so wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. All right, so some of you probably thought that the thing which is mixed with the coffee is chocolate. No, it's not chocolate, it's special charcoal, yeah. So if you buy the coffee in certain areas, they provide special charcoal in order, and they will mix the coffee and the charcoal. And I would like to add several points related to the video that has been played, probably next. Okay, so let's discuss about the geographic facts first. Yeah, Indonesia is the largest archipelagic country in the world, and we divide our zone into 3 time zones. Yeah, so we have Western Standard Time, Central Standard Time, and Eastern Standard Time. Yogyakarta is included into Western Standard Time. So if now in Yogyakarta is 1:43. So in Central Standard Time in Bali, it's 2:43, and in eastern part of Indonesia is 3:43. Yeah, because we are a large country, that's why we divided into 3 time zones, and we consist of around more than 17,000 islands. Next. And if we also discuss about the cultures, so we cannot separate language from the culture, because language is also one of the products of the culture. Can you imagine? We have 726 languages in Indonesia. It's not dialect, it's local languages. 726 local languages. And Javanese is only one of them. Next. Okay, Now I would like to teach you a simple phrase, yeah. I would like to turn on your microphone after I pronounce this phrase. Sugeng rawuh. 3, 2, 1. Anyone?
Sugeng rawuh.
Sugeng rawuh. Yeah. Okay. I can identify. I can identify some Japanese accent. I can identify it. Okay, and I can identify some participants who just pronounce this phrase for the first time. Yeah, Sugeng rawuh means welcome. So if you are a passenger of a bus and the virtual tour guide, I would like to say Sugeng rawuh in Yogyakarta Hadiningrat and Sugeng rawuh in our campus. Yeah, welcome to Yogyakarta and welcome to our campus. One more slide. Next. This is the icon. Next, because we have limited time. Okay, Yogyakarta is one of special regions in Indonesia. Why it's special? Actually, we have 3 special regions in Indonesia. The first one is Nangro Aceh Darussalam. Aceh is special because this area is applying Islamic law. And then DKI Jakarta. Jakarta is special because it's the capital city of Indonesia. And then Yogyakarta is special because this is the only one province who is governed by Sultan, officially governed by a king. Yeah. So the king here is not only a symbol, but the king is also the head of the government in Yogyakarta. And how do I reach Yogyakarta? It's very easy. So Jakarta to Jogja, only 9 hours by train, and then it's around 45 to 55 minutes by plane. And from Surabaya, it's around 6 hours by trains and 3 to 45 minutes by plane. So it's very easy to reach Jogja. Sometimes the global community or global people only know Bali as part of Indonesia, but we also have Yogyakarta, and we also have other areas which is very beautiful. Next, the last one. Next. Okay, so if you visit Yogyakarta and you will visit our campus, so our campus is located in Sleman Regency, and then Sleman is the most crowded regency in Yogyakarta. It's more than 1 billion people are here. Next. Okay. This is the last one, I think, because we have a very limited time. Yogyakarta used to be the capital city of Indonesia, yeah, because during the military aggression II, when the Dutch tried to invade again Indonesia, the capital city was moved to Yogyakarta, and our university, UII, is also moved to Yogyakarta. UII actually was established at Jakarta, but at that time, UII was moved to Yogyakarta. The capital city moved back to Jakarta, but the university stays here and start to make history. So I think that's the history of Yogyakarta at a glance. I hope this information stimulate you to come to Yogyakarta in order to enjoy the culture, the food, and the history as well. Thank you very much. My name is Rifki Fajar Gandawiguna. I hope I can see you soon in the next opportunity. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Rizky Fajar for the great explanation. Next agenda, let's getting know further about Universitas Islam Indonesia. Happy watching!
Imagine this. Your future university is the pioneer of higher education institutions in Indonesia. An Islamic university that welcomes all interested citizens, a place where you will learn the beauty of diversity while still faithfully adhering to Islamic values. Imagine this. You are able to experience international education in an international university with global recognition. Study programs are accredited and certified by various countries such as Japan, Korea, England, and the USA. A place where you explore science through 8 faculties and 48 study programs that you can choose from. Where you can weave your dreams while enjoying collaborative adventures with global scientists. And broadening your horizon through national and international partnership programs. Imagine this. You can pursue higher education in Indonesia in a private university that has a lush and green environment. An excellent university that is tirelessly innovating in various fields. A place where you can learn freely, whether surrounded by calming trees or inside the buildings, online or offline, beyond the classrooms, unbound by distance and space. All is provided to nurture you to become an active and innovative generation with diverse perspectives, which in turn earns appreciation. Imagine this, your future university supporting you to become an intellectual who is not only academically profound, but also spiritually insightful. The best private university that still strongly believes in academic freedom, encouraging you to express yourself in an era of fierce competition where contributions to problem solving are much needed. Its academic staff, as well as 107,000 alumni, have proven their worth, becoming ulil albab who are able to integrate science and Islamic teachings for the development of various sciences. Imagine this, your university is located in Indonesia's very own city of education, a city with a wide diversity of stories and cultures waiting to be discovered. Universitas Islam Indonesia is a university that is truly Indonesian, standing side by side with science, culture and art, creating a harmony of beautiful colors. Now stop imagining. It's time to realize your aspirations. Are you ready? Because here at UII, we are ready to show you the way.
After having a glimpse of Yogyakarta and Universitas Islam Indonesia, next we will have a look at one of Indonesia traditional dancing. Please welcome Safiera with Bagurau dancing. we step to the main agenda of today, namely, webinar the G20 Outlooks, how the country recovers the post-pandemic economy. But before that, let me pass the forum to our great moderator, Ms. Octavia Dwi Fatmawati. To Ms. Octavia, the forum is all yours.
Thank you, Ms. Miftah, for the screen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? I hope you all very well today, especially in this situation. To begin with, I would like to say hello and welcome to the Honorable Dean and Vice Dean from all universities, lecturer, and the audiences. I'm Octavia Dwi Fatmawati, as the student from Economic Department International Program Batch 2020, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. For the last 2 years, we have faced the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which isolated our mobility as a human. As a result, all countries in the world are experiencing tremendous pressure, especially in the economic aspect. Many of us are required to rack our brain for a solution to not only deal with the impacts, but also to restore the pace of economic growth that was affected during the pandemic. And to know deeper about it, we have topic about G20 SDGs outlook, how the country recover the post-pandemic economy. There will be 3 speakers today who will present in today's webinar. The first speaker is Dr. Dekar Urumsah from Universitas Islam Indonesia, and the second speaker is Dr. Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basa from Universitas Sains Islam Malaysia, and the third speaker is Mr. Joel L. Tantores from Mapua University. So, the first session will be delivered by Dr. Dekar Urumsah, but before that, let me introduce you to our audiences today. Dr. Dekar is the head of Accounting Study and Master Program in Universitas Islam Indonesia. He graduated from Bachelor Degree of Accounting in Universitas Islam Indonesia, and his Doctoral of Philosophy in Accounting at Curtin University, Australia. Please welcome Dr. Dekar for the stage. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Dr. Dekar. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. It's very nice to have you here in this stage, especially in this kind of situation. And welcome to ISM IBSE 2022.
Thank you.
Yep. Without further ado, I would like to give the discussion to Dr. Dekar. There will be 25 minutes, and I will notify you when the time is up. Time is yours, sir.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for joining to this seminar. It is great to see all you all of even through virtually via Zoom. Thank you. As mentioned by a nice moderator, Octavia Dwi Fatmawati. My name is Dekar Urumsah from Accounting Department, Faculty of Business and Economics, University Islam Indonesia. Before I get started, firstly, I would like to thank the Dean and Vice Dean of Faculty of Business and Economics to give opportunity to give me as one of the speaker representing this faculty on the webinar International Business Sustainability Initiative with the title of G20 SDGs Outlook, How Country Recover from the Post-Pandemic Economy. Secondly, I would like to say hello to other speakers. Dr. Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basah from University Science Islam Malaysia, as well as Mr. Joel L. Tan Torres from Mapua University. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Next. Okay, today that's my outlines for presenting about this issue. The first line is about the history of G20, yeah, and then sustainable development goals, yeah, and then next about COVID-19, yeah, next about the impacts of COVID-19, yeah, on the achievement of Indonesia SDGs target, and the next slide will be how the country recovers, yeah, from the post-pandemic economic, and the last issue is about how Indonesia recover from the post-pandemic economy. Okay, let's have a look about history of the Group of 20 or G20. G20 was formed in 1999. Initiated by G of 7, yeah, namely Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United States. G20 was originally a meeting of the Minister of Finance and the Governor of the Central Bank, yeah, to broaden the discussion of policies that are beneficial for resolving the global economy and financial crisis. As an economic forum, the G20 is membership of 20 countries, namely Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Britain, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Russia, Turkey, United States, and the European Union. G20 objectives were formulated, namely to create strong, sustainable, and balanced economic growth, yeah, that are conducted G20 summit in Pittsburgh, United States on 2009. Every G20 summit will have a different formulation and focus. So on this slide, I just pick up some G20 summit. On 2011 G20 summit in Cannes, France, agreed that the G20 has the responsibility to coordinate their policies and produce political agreement. They are very important in addressing challenge due to condition of global economic interdependence. And the last year, yeah, G20 summit in Rome, Italy, in 2021, under the Italian presidency, focused on three broad, interconnected pillars of action: people, planet, and prosperity. The forum aims to take the lead, ensuring a safe international response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The G20 has a strategic position. It's quite important. Why? Because G20 represents around 65% of the world's population, as well as 79% of global trade, and the last one at least 85% of the world's economy. So the various G20 meetings are to build the political commitment of the leaders of the world's major economic leaders in resolving challenges which affects global economic growth, including issue of finance, trade, infrastructure and investment, energy, employment, corruption, eradication, development, agriculture, technology, innovation, and digital economy. The G20 is divided into two channels. The first one is financial track, When the financial track consists of financial minister and central bank governors, G20 members, to address a number of agenda related to financial sector. The second track, we call it Sherpa track, addresses other agenda that are outside the financial sector, as well as preparing various documents to be discussed at the summit. Sherpa are generally appointed directly by the head of government or country and are seen their representation at various G20 meetings in addition to the summit. Sustainable Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and improve the lives and prospect of everyone and everywhere. The 70 goals were adopted by all UN member states in 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. There are 17 issues actually, 17 issues. Okay, and COVID, COVID is now 2 years, already 2 years. COVID has impact on various fields, such as the emergence of economic, social, and environmental risks. Based on COVID-19 March 21st from Financial Express News, the spread of COVID has started to decline, but it is still spreading. For example, in India, there have been reports of Delta Cron variants being reported from some part of southern India. In China, Disney was forced to shut down the Shanghai parks amid growing number of cases, as well as in Hong Kong, has lifted flight ban from 9 nations. The city has also reduced the quarantine period for foreign traveler arriving in Hong Kong. During COVID, during the pandemic COVID, there was an increase in internet access as well as mobile phone ownership. So, IT industry are growing fastly in pandemic COVID. Also, COVID-19 has also brought change such as the emergence of Society 90.0. As we have a look on the picture, only using one smartphone, the people can access any information. Okay. Impact of COVID-19 on the achievement of Indonesia SDG target, it will be happen to the other country as well, especially in developing country. So when we have a look one by one, the impact of COVID-19 will limited capability of adaptive social protection, will bring impact on limited capability of adaptive social protection. For example, the increase of poor people, as well as the disruption of global value chain. Focus in food security, food loss and the consequence of logistic issue. As well as because of COVID-19 still happen in some country, maybe poor management of COVID, especially in developing country. The massive increment of health waste. Impact of COVID will bring learning crisis in the future because a lot of education, not only in elementary but also as well as in higher education, using online. So will be decrease the quality of learning. Impact of COVID will also bring impact woman economic gain at risk. working from home have a tremendous impact on working mother. Next, impact of COVID will also rising water insecurity, as well as limited the potential deployment of RE, worsening the environmental and social damage. With disruption in the labor market, commercial activity freezing has in the poorer population, as well as will bring impact in disrupting national infrastructure project. For example, in Indonesia, approximately 351 infrastructure project under the Ministry of Public Works and Public Housing are threatened to be stopped. COVID-19 bring effect as well as exposed youth inequality. Limited resources and support, unsustainable of consumption and production pattern, a deadly connection of COVID-19 and air pollution, the potential loss of ocean economy opportunity. For example, disruption of global supply chains affect the livelihood of 3.5 million fisher in Indonesia. Deforestation increase the virus transmission. The conversion of forest into agricultural use may increase the transmission of zoonotic or animal to human diseases. Impact of COVID as well, the spread of conspiracy theory. What does it mean? The rumors regarding COVID-19 will make prevention of virus transmission more difficult. Is it naturally or to be biological war? And the last one, partnership for the goal. Crisis process threat to global economy stability in the decline of commodity price worsen the Indonesia financing situation. Okay, and then how the country recovers from the post-pandemic economy. Sustainable development to become key issue to post-pandemic economy recovery. Indonesia, for the first time since the G20 was founded in 1999, has been appointed to assume the G20 presidency, starting from 1 December 2021 to 30 November 2022. The 70th G20 Leaders Summit will take place in Bali from 30 to 31 October 2022. Bapak Presiden Jokowi bring a theme, recover together, recover stronger. That's mean as the world economy is still being affected by COVID-19, Indonesia encourage all countries to work together to achieve a stronger and more sustainable world recovery. There are three pillars, as I mentioned before. Every G20 summit bring different focus. Also in Indonesia, the Indonesia presidency 2020 bring three pillars. The first one is global health architecture. The path of global recovery requires stronger global cooperation that ensure a quality of global health standard and closer collaboration to ensure the global community resilience toward any future pandemic. The second element is sustainable energy transition. as we continue the global effort to ensure energy security, renewable energy, that's mean, the urgent need to accelerate the transition toward cleaner energy sources will need to be addressed with new approach and dimension, ensuring a cleaner and brighter future for the global community. For instance, like using solar cell, something like that. The third issue is digital transformation. Achieving the true potential from the rapid digitalization of the global economy requires a new landscape of cooperation among nations and all stakeholders to secure common prosperity in the digital age. How the country recover from the post-pandemic economy, as we have the theme on this G20 Summit 2020, Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Based on three main issues, Indonesia will continue to take lead on ensuring equitable access to COVID-19 vaccine, promoting sustainable and inclusive economic development through micro, small, medium enterprise participation and digital economy, maintaining the aspiration to continue to improve our collective capacity in securing the shared prosperity among nations through various reform efforts in global taxation, like international taxation, yeah. Stronger cooperation in fighting corruption, yeah. Depending of infrastructure financing and pushing for a more democratic and representative international cooperation. And let's see, we have a look case in Indonesia, how Indonesia recover from the post-pandemic economy. Because Indonesia to be the presidency G20 summit on 2022, this is a good opportunity. It's a good momentum for Indonesia to take advantage as presidency G20 for national economic growth, supported by a national economy recovery program, such as continue prior programs such as health program, social protection program, business incentive, micro, small, medium enterprise, and corporate support. Indonesia has another good momentum with demographic bonus between 2020 and 2030. It becomes a challenge for the younger generation, especially millennial and Z generation, to increase their productivity. So there are three essential points to recover economy after pandemic. The first one, maximize the opening of employment opportunity in potential sectors such as the digital sector through the development of relevant capacity and skill. By providing a digital marketing training for micro, small, medium enterprise to build their capacity and skill, for example. And then encourage productivity to create added value in sectors that are a source of new economic growth, like economic creative, by providing grant for researchers or people to develop new business model. And the last one, create ecosystem for a more livable earth, promote sustainable jobs and affordable energy transition. I think that's all for my presentation. And thank you very much for your attention. My conclusion. Alone we are strong, together we are stronger. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Decker, for the great presentation. It was such a useful material to improve our knowledge. And I catch some interesting points from your presentation that sustainable development is key to the pandemic economic recovery. And we all know our future depends on how the country can solve our country's long-term economics problem. That's all. Thank you. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Decker, for the great presentation.
You're welcome.
And now we are moving to the second session for today's webinar that will be presented by Mr. Joel Elton Torres. Mr. Joel have a lot of experience in field of tax and consulting service, international taxation, project management, marketing, and communication. He is also a dean of University of the Philippines Virata School of Business since 2019 till present. For Mr. Joel, time is yours. Good afternoon, Mr. Joel.
Yes, good afternoon. I had a little technical problem, but I'm ready to start. Can you hear me well?
Okay. First of all, may you open the camera? Is it possible?
Yes. Let me. It's open already.
Oh,
I have a PowerPoint.
Okay.
No, it's not a video, but a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we will start the presentation by Mr. Joel Elton Torres. Time is yours, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Dean Joel Tan Torres from our state university, in the Philippines, University of the Philippines. I'm a guest of the dean of the Mapua University, which I think is a member of your group. It's nice to be talking to one, I think, a institution of this aggregation of universities in our ASEAN neighbors. Now, my topic today is the Philippines recovers, the post-pandemic economy. By the way, I'm now the dean of the UP, University of the Philippines School of Business, but several years ago, I was a former tax office commissioner, the head of our tax office here in the Philippines, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And so my presentation this afternoon will, of course, be focusing on pandemic or post-pandemic economic recovery, plus, of course, a tool, a means for the recovery in the form of taxes, both my expertise. Okay, I'd like to start by mentioning that these are the attributes of a bankrupt state. I'm not saying that the Philippine government is bankrupt. or has a lot of problems. No? But let me just highlight the facts. For our fiscal year 2022, our government has accumulated substantial debts, loans amounting to 12.3 trillion pesos as of end of January 2022. The government also continues to be burdened by much needed expenditures for services like pandemic response, economic recovery, and a substantial amount for debt servicing, debt and loan payments amounting to 5.809 trillion pesos for this year. And as maybe an indication of a difficult state, the government will be unable to generate the commensurate finances and earnings to shoulder the obligations I mentioned earlier, since expected revenues for 2022 that will be derived by the government comes up to only about 3.299 trillion pesos. Some of us probably have seen the movie. No? It was a blockbuster movie several years ago, The Perfect Storm. So I will liken this situation, this as ingredients leading to a perfect storm of a bankrupt state. But again, let me repeat it again. I will not still consider the Philippines as a bankrupt state, but rather I decided to put this heading to wake up some of the my fellow faculty, professors, and our, of course, mentees, our students who are listening to this talk, which I hope to interest you for the next so many minutes. Now, as I've said, I am a former tax collector, the head of our tax agency. And so I will focus on the fiscal or tax situation of the Philippine government. The sources of government funds come from a number of sources. In the Philippines, this include, of course, collection from taxes and tariff and duties from our tax collecting agencies, the Bureau of Internal Revenues, we call it the BIR, and the Bureau of Customs, the BOC. Revenues can also come from non-tax revenues, from income from treasury operations, from government-owned and controlled corporations, and from fees and charges and other non-tax earnings of the government. And also from privatization proceeds, the sale of government assets to the private sector. Likewise, revenues, a small sum, will be coming from the rental of government assets. Now, tax revenues from collections from internal revenue taxes, like value-added tax, like income tax, account for the biggest share of the sources of government funds. For 2022, the tax collections of our two collecting agencies, the BIR and the BOC, come up to about 82% of total government revenues. Clearly, for a bankrupt state or near bankrupt country, in order to ease this difficult financial situation that I discussed earlier, one of the immediate and effective solution is enhancing, improving the collection of tax revenues. Now, I mentioned earlier, I was the BIR commissioner, the #1 tax collector, maybe about 10, 11 years ago. Now, I will describe to you what is the concern, what is the mindset of a tax collector. First, he should exercise the diligence of a good provider and a good father of the family. We all know that our father works very hard in order to provide the needs of his family. So, similar, for a country, the tax collector is also very serious in making sure that there are enough money that will be collected so that the expenditures, the requirements of the country, its citizens, will be taken care of because of the taxes that this father of the family, the Filipino family, the Philippines, should be able to collect. Of course, aside from collecting, the tax collector addresses several financial problems, such as dealing with tax evaders, coming up with much effort, even though the budget, even though the resources, even though the staff of the BIR is very inadequate. And I also think that a good tax collector should avoid what I call whimsical increase in taxes. What is meant by whimsical? These are the unnecessary increase in taxes. A lot of taxpayers will agree that any increase in taxes that they will have to pay is not necessarily. So, very whimsical. A good tax collector should instead improve its tax administration efficiency. There are many ways to improve this, especially now that information technology, digital tools, artificial intelligence are all available to help the tax collector improve its tax collection efforts. Finally, a tax collector should be looking for what I call the low-hanging fruits opportunities, the quick wins, where it will not take too long, it will not take so much effort to be able to collect more tax revenues. Now, I will just briefly discuss whimsical, again, not important, not necessary, not necessarily taxes versus, I will have to I will have to say that some form of taxation is rational, is necessary. So there are two types of taxation or taxes that can be collected, that can be passed by Congress or Parliament. The whimsical, the unnecessary taxes, the rational or the necessary taxes. Ultra-rich wealth tax. There are a lot of talks in the Philippines and also in other parts of the world, probably including Indonesia, about coming up with an additional tax for the very, very rich billionaires, taxpayers in the country. They are being taxed right now. No? The billionaires in the Philippines, the billionaires in Indonesia, but there are some thoughts that they should pay more. No? They should not always accumulate so much wealth, so much income, but they should pay more of taxes to government. So in the Philippines, we have a proposal in Congress that provides for an additional tax, no? In addition to the regular income tax that billionaires pay, there will be plus additional 10%, 15% of tax. Also the US, also Canada, also in the European countries, there are talks about putting or legislating this ultra-rich wealth tax. There is also the excise tax of digital transactions, the online transactions. No? During the pandemic, I'm sure even in Indonesia, the online transaction, e-commerce, digital transactions have become very common. So many citizens Okay, sorry. Can you now hear me? Sorry, I think I muted myself.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, but was I gone? There was no audio for a long time? Or it was just a few seconds? Do I need to repeat my talk or can I just continue on this slide?
You can continue on the next slide, sir.
Okay. So sorry for again the technical glitches. The OECD, no, I think we all know what OECD is about. It has initiated a global flat tax directed on foreign companies operating, for example, in the Philippines, in Indonesia, or in the countries where some of these foreign companies, the multinationals, are able to avoid paying taxes in the country where they are operating because of different rules and means. So that can also be imposed. Sin taxes on liquor, cigarettes, luxury items, casino winnings. No? This is commonly put in place by countries, by government, because they, aside from collecting big taxes, they want to minimize the consumption or the propagation of what they call non-essential luxury items or purchases. Efficient tax for capital gains tax and reorganizational business transactions. No? There are a lot of mergers happening in our respective countries. Sometimes they are able to avoid taxes because of, again, their tax consultants and special rules. There are also special taxation for mining and fuel products. In our case, the second to the last item, we like to accelerate the withdrawal of tax breaks in the CREATE tax law passed during the pandemic last year, where it gave a lot of tax benefits to taxpayers. It can be returned back to the old taxable system, can be accelerated because more so when there is already recovery from the pandemic, and a tax amnesty. Okay, I just have a few minutes. Now, this is an illustration or examples of improving the tax collection administration efforts without the need for putting in new taxes. The first four refers to improvements that can be done because of digital commerce, e-commerce, digital transaction, online businesses. So this includes digital transformation of the tax collecting offices, use of data analytics and geo-mapping, artificial intelligence in tax enforcement of the tax collector, and electronic invoicing. These are the next suggestions for improvement of tax collection. Depends on the system, that is a tax system applicable, prevailing in the country. In the Philippines, it is possible to come up with schemes of withholding tax, including converting, covering, subjecting transactions done through online business payment platforms and facilities to withholding tax. Third-party reporting of transactions with the use of a national identification number system that was newly adopted in the Philippines. Also, government, similar to private taxpayers, are taxpayers. So they should be disciplined enough to pay taxes to the BIR, to the Bureau of Customs. Maintaining and auditing COVID-related tax issues. A lot of tax breaks were given, and some of these tax breaks may have been abused during the pandemic situation. And auditing the tax auditors. Finally, I'd like to end by saying that from the perfect
sorry,
storm.
Sir, for interrupt, but the
this
time
is my last slide. This is my last slide.
Okay, sir.
So, from the perfect storm that some bankrupt state may be faced with, we can convert that state to the perfect recovery. So that will end my presentation on how tax financing can help in the post-pandemic recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Joel, for the great, excellent presentation. And the things that I can highlight from your presentation is the Philippines recover from accumulated substantial debt and problem to generate the consumerate finance and earning to shoulder this obligation. The Philippine government unable to generate the commensurate finance and earning to shoulder this obligation. The sources of government fund come from a big number of sources. Various scheme of withholding of tax, including those covering online business, payment, platform, and facilities. Okay, before we start to the next session, I would like to remind to all participants that the Q&A session will be held at the last session after 3 speakers have finished delivering their material. So we are going to go to the next session with Professor Muhammad Yasis, Professor Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basah. Let me introduce you to the audiences. Professor Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basah is a senior lecturer at Faculty of Economic and Muamalat University Science Islam Malaysia, and he is nominated as USIM for 100 researchers in 2013 and 2017. Okay, you can start the presentation now, sir.
Hello, Ms. Olivia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. First of all, may I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Because some changes.
Yep.
So I think better I share my screen. Is it possible?
Yeah, it's already on the screen, sir.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
your time is 25 minutes, sir, and I will notify you when the time is up.
Right. Okay. Because you are enabled for me to share my screen. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much to our chairperson today, Ms. Octavia, and also to the fellow speakers, Dr. Dika and also Mr. Din Joel. And also I would like to say thank you very much. My attitude of appreciation to the Universitas Islam Indonesia by inviting University Science Islam Malaysia to collaborate for this international mobility program. So inshallah, by today I will present the G20 SDG Outlook as per requested by the organizer. But I will share with all of you with the experience on Malaysia, how we overcome and go through on the pandemic COVID-19. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so this is some sort like a brief history in Malaysia, basically how the COVID-19 spread in Malaysia. The first cases, okay, the first 3 cases recorded on 25th January 2020, which is an imported case where from the tourists from the China mainland, okay, visited to the country, and then it spreaded, and the government on 16 March 2020 announced the movement control order. So inshallah, it's not confirmed yet, but it is a finalizing. Maybe expected on April 2022, Malaysia will move to endemic phase. So all the international borders will be reopened as usual. Mask mandate removed from outdoor spaces except for crowded areas and indoor spaces. But we have a look how is the improvement until today. And we are waiting actually the announcement from the government. So this is the SDG. So as mentioned by the Dr. Dikar just now, Malaysia is one of the United Nations country, and we are also the signatory of these SDG goals, which is as per explained by the Dr. Dikar just now, in a sustainable development, there is 17 areas that must be emphasized as what we call that as Agenda 2030. So that is the commitment of the Malaysia since 2015. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is how COVID-19 affected Malaysia. So Malaysian GDP declined by 5.6% in 2020 compared to the average growth of 4.4% for the past 10 years. So in May 2020 also, Malaysia reached its highest unemployment rate, which is 5.3%, and it is the highest rate since 1989. So how bad the COVID-19 affected in Malaysia? Okay, next slide. Above that, one third of the employee experienced work discontinuity during the pandemics, and 27% of them who continued working had income reduction due to the COVID-19. So you see how it affect the one area of the SDG, which is no poverty, and also what we call that no poverty, and also zero hunger. So if of course impact the income, it will increase the poverty problem in Malaysia. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the sector I share with you, how the retail sector affected by the COVID-19. Fashion apparel reduced by 49.6%. Okay, the department store, the business reduced by negative 44.7%. And also 30% of mall have closed, the effect, and then it involved 300,000 personnel or employment were left jobless in a retail industry. Even the research stated that only 0.8% of the overall positive COVID-19 cases recorded in a retail industry, okay, due to the retail activity. Okay, next slide. And then this is the effect of the hospitality. The same as a retail, 120 hotels have closed down during the MCO, and then permanently from March 2020. So it affects our hospitality and tourism as one of the main income for the Malaysia. Okay, the next is in the industry. I don't know, I cannot control my slide. Can the organizer move to the next slide, please? Okay, this is even the COVID-19 have a negative impact towards the certain economic sector, but it's recorded growth in e-commerce sector. So that is one of what we call that opportunity created by the pandemic COVID-19. Okay, next slide. Okay, due to that economic situation, movement control order. So if I stated just now, we start in Malaysia the movement control order in March 2020. After the 3 months, government introduced what they call as a Penjana Initiative. Also, this Penjana Initiative is a Plan Jana Semula Ekonomi Negara introduced by the government of Malaysia, and this Penjana is focusing on 3 key thrust area: empower people, proper business, and stimulate the economy. And for that initiative, the government of Malaysia allocated 35 billion ringgit in order to boost the economy, to what we call that, to generate the economy or stimulate the economic activities. Okay, this is the thrust number 1, the empower people. which is the government give a wage subsidy program, social protection for the gig economy, and then also due to the unemployment, especially for the young graduate, and also for those who are terminated in a workforce, they have a penjana for the kerjaya. The next slide. And then a special aid for the childcare center. Due to the MCO, all the childcare center have to close, and then there is some incentive to them, and also incentive to for the parent to go and work as usual. And then social support for the vulnerable groups. Okay, this is disabled, and the internet for the education and the productivity. And then we have a special scheme, withdrawal scheme for employee provident fund provided by the government, and also special withdrawal scheme for the private retirement scheme for those who are participated in a private retirement scheme. That trust number 3 to empower people. And then this is an example on how the wage subsidiary program implemented, where this wage subsidiary program not also benefited to the employee, but also for the employer. Both get benefit. This is to protect the social security, to protect the minimum level of income among the Malaysian, and at the same time to protect the businesses, especially the small businesses, to survive during the pandemic. Okay, next slide. And then this is to propel for the business, a special scheme introduced by the government to make sure the small, medium, the retail business can survive in the market during the pandemic. The special financing for the micro business, the special funded, the moratorium introduced by the government for the period of the 6 months, and then can be continued for another 6 months in order to make sure our business entity, small, medium, micro business can survive during the pandemic COVID-19. Next slide. This is the same thing, the Propel business, still in the Trust 2. And then we move to the Trust 3. The next slide. Still under the Trust 2. Can we have the Trust 3? Okay, to stimulate the economy. So during that time, the government introduced and encouraged the Malaysian to buy Malaysian campaign. Okay, and then the Dana Penjanam Nasional, and also the agriculture, food and sector support. So that is implemented on June 2020. After that, on September 2020, again, because the government have identified, the people also raised up the issue, the government, all the stimulus package is not enough. So now government announced another stimulus package, which is called as a Kita Prihatin. So this is some additional 10 billion ringgit allocation, supplementary incentive based on penjana just now. So that is another stimulus package introduced by the government. Next slide. So here, when we see here, just here, the focus on this stimulus package is the bottom 40% income group, the middle 40% income group, who are married and a single. So this is how the Malaysia classified the household income, where it's divided based on the we call that B40, M40, and T20. If B40 is for those who has an income below than 4,500 ringgit, and M40 is for those who have income below than 10,000 ringgit, and T20 is for those who have an income more than 10,000 ringgit. So under the Prihatin and also the penjana just now, I want to you all recall back on what is the 17 elements in a SDG. So far, if we keep track, what has been done by the Malaysian government through the economic stimulus package is in line on 17 area of social sustainable development goals. Okay, September 2020. On 2021, the government of Malaysia introduced a budget, annual budget for the country, and this annual budget is tabled in the parliament, and of course, this is a one-year budget for the 2020. For the year 2021, in order to overcome the post-pandemic situation in Malaysia. If we go to the if I refer to this slide, so budget 2020 highlight what Malaysian will get. Okay, so we refer to the slide again because I cannot control my slide. What Malaysian get is all the benefits, and then after the budget 2020, the government introduced again another incentive for pandemic COVID-19. What they call that is PERMAI with the 3 objectives. The first one is combating the COVID-19 outbreak, which we relate with the a good healthcare in a SDG area. Safeguarding the welfare of the people. So this is the objective also in line with the sustainable development goal, and also supporting the business continuity, the sustainability, and in the economic growth. Also all those in line with sustainable development goal objective. This slide just as an example on what is introduced under this package. The first one is the moratorium extension, loan repayment and assistance. So this is very good, very useful for those who are affected by, for example, retrenchment. Okay, and then especially for the business also. And then this one is a wage subsidy is continued by the government. And then there is a special social security insurance or takaful under the SOCSO introduced by the government, and the Prihatin employee insurance system also introduced by the government under the PERMAI. And then still what has been introduced by the government Malaysia is not enough. Yet again, on another plan, on another stimulus package, the government introduced another package called that as a Pemerkasa. And this package introduced in March 2021. So basically, there is a 5 focus area in this Pemerkasa that tried the government. So this is one of the focus area, ensuring the inclusiveness. So when we see the ensuring the inclusiveness, this is this focus also is a part on the main objective of the SDG introduced by the United Nations. Other than example, 4 focus, and then we have the next slide, please. And then this is also the ensuring the inclusiveness in the Malaysian society. Okay, so this is the summary. The summary that what has been done by the Malaysian government starting from the MCO in March 2020 until 2021. So this is more or less 1.5 years. So basically here, the government introduced three main stimulus package. We call that Penjana, and then we call that Prihatin, and also the last one just now, Pemerkasa. So all this from 2020 and 2021 included the Malaysian budget for 2021. It involved quite a lot of budget allocated by the government, almost ringgit Malaysia 900 billion, okay, for the government to overcome of a pandemic COVID-19. So now in 2022, so we are now in 2022. So I may consider as 2022 as what we call that as a post-pandemic. So government introduced the budget in 2022, and this budget 2022 is considered the highest budget, amounted about 332.1 billion. So this is considered as the highest budget since the independent day of Malaysia. Okay, so in 2003, if you see the budget highlight, okay, the government emphasizing on cost of living, relief and recovery, and then special package for the low income, and also the special development for the rural infrastructure. Okay, next slide. Okay, you see here in a budget 2020, so there is the focus of the government is a job creation and a social issues, the environmental issues, the economic corridor, and the civil services, and also the inclusiveness of from Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, the next slide. And also we have a special tax, the sin tax introduced by the government, penalty for those who are the smokers, and then the Malaysian entrepreneur, housing, the commodity, the transport, and the research development, youth and sport. Now Malaysia is moving forward for the what we call that post-pandemic of COVID-19, where the budget on 2022 is not only focusing on a health issue to try to recover the economy, that it's more general to stimulate economy as a whole. Or I can say that as we back on track on our budget as before or before the pandemic COVID-19. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have what we call that a long-term plan, and we have a short-term plan, and we have an annual budget, a medium and short-term. So this is a medium-term budget in Malaysia, medium-term policy in the Malaysia, which is a 12 Malaysia Plan 2021 and 2022.
Sorry, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, but your time is up, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I take a few minutes for my conclusion?
Yeah, that's okay, sir.
Okay. Can we go to the last slide for my conclusion? Okay. We see that here. For me, I have a great opportunity today to share with all of you regarding on how Malaysia recover due to pandemic and post-pandemic. And it is quite for me interesting because I'm focusing on Malaysia, and as you, Malaysia is not a G20 country, so we are just a very small economy. So a very good experience for me to share what has been done in Malaysia, and I hope that I will get a very good feedback from all the audience regarding what has been done in Malaysia. So, but as a conclusion, SDG 17 indicators, we got so many indicators, wide area, and too many to achieve with a limited resources. So of course, COVID-19 have impact on a track of Malaysian as a small nation, as a small country to achieve as per guideline of a United Nations. However, the COVID-19 implication towards economic growth, GDP, unemployment, household income, SMEs performance, pandemic post and government policy, budget, all of those activities, economic stimulus package introduced by the government is actually in line with 17 areas of SDG. And however, even during the pandemic, still government of Malaysia put emphasis for the overall achievement in performance of the SDG. So as what stated in the previous slide, which is Malaysia looking forward, highly committed to achieve 17 agendas and SDG, thus reflected not only in short-term economic stimulus package, but already included in medium and long-term planning of Malaysia, as per stated in a 12 Malaysian plan in an 11 Malaysian plan. So I think that's all my presentation. Thank you for the cooperation. With that, I return back to you, Ms. Octavia.
Yep. Thank you so much, Professor Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basa, for the great presentation. It is very elaborate and complete presentation. Several points should be highlighted in a contracted approach to deal with the pandemic. To relaunch a collapsing economy, employ an inclusive and holistic approach that focus on empowering individuals as well as the numerous business sector. Okay, let me repeat the conclusion from Mr. Muhammad Yasis. Several points should be highlighted in a concentrated approach to deal with the pandemic. To relaunch a collapsing economy, employ an inclusive and holistic approach that focus on empowering individuals as well as the numerous business sector that are most damaged and affected. Okay, this is the end of the third session, and now we are going to the Q&A session. And now we are move on to the last session for today's webinar, which is the Q&A session. If you have any question, please write your name in the chat box or use the raise hand feature on your Zoom screen, and don't forget to write your name. Okay, right now we already have one question from Miftah. The question is, based on the explanation, mostly our speakers present about their own country's economic growth are starting to recover. There is a lot of growth on e-commerce sector rather than conventional business and physical store. The question is that this phenomenon will create new sites in business and economic activity around the world, especially in G20 countries. Maybe I will give the first question to Mr. Dekar.
Thank you. Based on my opinion, why the e-commerce industry become increasing significantly rather than conventional, because on pandemic COVID-19, the mobility of people has a problem. Yeah, they face a limitation to moving from one place to the other place. Yeah. As well as because of COVID, most of government protect people, yeah, to make distant, when they make a communication. So, of course, it will bring the behavior of transaction from conventional to e-commerce. So why during pandemic COVID, the e-commerce transaction increased significantly? That's based on my opinion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dekar. And maybe Professor Muhammad Yasis will give his opinion about this question.
Let me share some of my experience. When I studied in United Kingdom, in England, in around 2007 and 2008, when I arrived there, the e-commerce is a common. So we can do a business at home during that time in that country. And when I done with my study, when I come back to Malaysia in 2012, Malaysian during that time just introduced. People get used to use e-commerce in 2012. But during the pandemic, COVID-19, it further stimulate of the e-commerce or e-business in Malaysia. So nowadays is a trend in Malaysia. We just do business and shopping from at home. Okay, and especially the food industry, when there is a Grab food, there is a Food Panda. Now when people want to go, people just order online to get the food. Even before the pandemic, e-banking, e-transaction is already common. So for me, this is not just a trend due to the pandemic COVID-19, but it is actually the new development. Is not so called as a new development, but the development that is become already common and accepted in and register your company with the Inland Revenue Board. So this is for me is something current, and something is become phenomenal. It is something accepted by everybody. So we have to take this as an opportunity due to the COVID-19. That's all my comment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. for the explanation about the question. And I think I see the second answer from the live Zoom raise hand. Yep. And I see Keisha. Keisha, you can start.
I would like to our speaker in
I think Keisha have some trouble about her connection. Okay, let's wait a second. And the second question is from the chat box is the second question from Salwa. Her question is, I would like to ask all of the speaker, what is your opinion is about how we fight the groups of people that taking advantage of the crisis, like some distributor of medical equipment? Well, we know that always try to spread the news that make society feel scared and makes the government make some strict regulation that will make a lot of business feel the tremendous crisis. How we can fight this? Maybe Professor Muhammad Yasis may answer the first.
As an individual, for me, in my opinion, we have to equip ourselves with knowledge and information regarding the current development, especially regarding the COVID-19, regarding the effect of the pandemic, maybe regarding the issue of vaccination. Okay, so what is the most important thing is to make sure we will get the correct information from the relevant and authorized authority. For example, in Malaysia, we have a Ministry of Health. So make sure we will get all the information from authorized authority. And if, let's say, we get some information, we confused or regarding we're not sure with those of the information, don't panic because we have so many source of channel of communication. Try ask relevant authority to clarify the issue and not make our conclusion. Try to find as many as information, and with that information, clarify with the other authorities, our friends, colleague, parent, for example, share our issues, discuss, and then from that we can get a good information and we can make a good decision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the explanations about the question. And Dr. Dekar, would you like to answer this question too?
Okay, thank you. I agree with
Professor Yasis.
Professor Yasis, yeah, Dr. Yasis, yeah. I agree, yeah. The first thing is about the quality of information, yeah, validity from the authority of government. I agree, yeah. So I think Malaysia as well as Indonesia already has better services about that one. Yeah. In Indonesia we have what we call it? Peduli Lindungi,
yeah,
Peduli Lindungi, yeah. Peduli Lindungi. I think that system getting better and better. Even maybe in the beginning of development in the system, we still face some problem regarding maybe not valid the data. There is a crash data, but now it's quite better. Yeah, I think the second thing, based on the question, is about the distribution, right?
Yep.
Yeah, distribution. One of the important thing when we discuss about the distribution is about the value change. Yeah, how the government can develop to implement like supply chain management. So in order to everybody has the authority to access the information, can access transparently. Yeah. Not only supplier, but also government, as well as the customer or user. So that's kind of my opinion, how to make it information to become more transparent. Yeah, to become more transparent. So that's my opinion. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Dekar, for the question, for the answer. And right now, Keisha, I think she's already connected. Keisha? You can start right now. Your voice is a little too low. Can you make your volume bigger?
I would like to ask about Sherpa Trad, is in charge of political coordination of the G20, addresses multiple issues of great importance for global governance. But public officials are also crucial to the long development of G20 as an institution, and problems that take a long time to fix. So, what type of field G20 aims to promote? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Keisha. Maybe I will try to make it clear. Her question is, what type of field G20 aims to promote? Maybe Dr. Dekar want to answer first?
Big pardon, can you repeat one again? Sorry.
What type of field G20 aims to promote?
What time?
Of G20. G20 is.
Once again, sorry. Big pardon.
Okay. The Sherpa track, which is charges of the political coordination of the G20, addresses multiple issues of great importance for global government, but public officials are also crucial to the long-term development of the G20 as an institution, and problems that take a long time to fix. So what is the type of field G20 aim to promote?
Oh, okay. What type?
Yeah, what type?
I think depend on the issue in every G20 summit. Yeah, like in now Indonesia as Indonesia presidency, how to promote the type to solve the problem, something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So based on the issue that the Indonesia presidency bring it to solve the problem, there are 3 points. Global health architecture, sustainable energy transition, digital transformation. So based on that, the 3 main pillar, I think every group member can do the promote not only in his country but also to make a collaboration between the nation. Yeah, in order to can achieve the whole objective together. I think that one.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the answer, sir. Maybe Professor Yasis want to try to answer?
For me, I just want to give my opinion. Is it pretty hard to answer in which field or in which area that the G20 or any country in the world, whether Malaysia, Indonesia, or Philippines, to emphasize or to grow with? But for me, the SDG itself, through the 2030 agenda, so they have a layout that said 17, what we call that a 17 area that should be emphasized by the all country in this world to work together to achieve that on 2030. So for me, that is inclusiveness in terms of direction of every country in this world. So if we see from the 17 area in the SDG, so it talk about the people, it talk about the economics, it talk about the environment. So this is a 3 main area. So if we are talking about no poverty, it's about the people. If we are talking about the economic growth, it's talking about the economic. But if you are talking about the climate change, it's about the environment. So this is the 3 area mainly, people, economic, and environment, that should be emphasis by any country for me, for the future development. And clearly stated and represented by SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for the answer. I think that will be the last question for today's webinar. And this is the end of the Q&A session. Finally, we have come to the end. Thank you to Dr. Dekar Urumsa, Professor Muhammad Yasis bin Ali Basah, and also Mr. Joel L. Tantores for the presentation. Hopefully, all sessions in this webinar will motivate us to actualize the value revealed by all our precious speakers. Thank you for all the audience's time and attention. My sincere apologies for any inconvenient that might disturb your feeling. It's very nice to have you today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and I will give back the stage to Ms. Miftah.
Thank you to our inspiring speaker, Mr. Dekar Urumsah, Mr. Muhammad Yazis bin Alibasah, Mr. Joel L. Tantores, and our great moderator, Ms. Octavia. By the end of the webinar, the session of the first day has also ended. Keep your spirit and do your best. See you tomorrow.